what my intro is going to be because I was saying, oh, it should be on to well, but I'm not sure if I'm saying that correct. I might not be saying it correctly because I don't speak Arabic. And honestly, like when I look it up on Google Translate, even for a Levantine Arabic translation, I don't think I'm saying that correctly. So I thought about it. What do I want my new intro to be? Just like my new welcome to you guys. Welcome to the garden party of your life. What does that mean? Okay, so I kind of started typing up an intro or like a post on my other channel about like the garden party of your life, like explaining what I meant about that. So first off, this is not exactly like a salad for Halloween. It's just Halloween and I'm making a salad and I'm wearing a cat shirt because, well, I just wear this one on my days off because it's kind of an interesting shirt. It's cute. My mom bought it for me a long time ago and whatnot. Hello, Khalid. How are you doing? So, anyhow, this is what I think. I'll tell you. I'm going to explain to you what I mean by the garden party of my life and your life. Okay, so. Yeah, it's a cool shirt, isn't it? My mom got it for me a while back, and I just hadn't worn it for a while. So I'll explain what the garden party of your life is, what that means. So it's kind of a little bit of a story time, and it's kind of like what I was talking about in the post on my other channel. Like people are like garden party, like is it a literal garden party? I mean, I kind of felt like I had a garden vibe in that photo. But what I mean by the garden party, it's based on a Ricky Nelson song, actually. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, who's Ricky Nelson? Well, if you grew up in America in the 1960s, you would definitely know who Ricky Nelson was. Ricky Nelson was a very famous actor from a show called The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. And it was actually kind of a funny show. Like, I actually really liked watching the show. And it's a very good example of what happens to somebody when they get typecast, like why sometimes, and I think this kind of like harkens into what I'm talking about, like depression and how people feel like they're stuck in a typecast. Well, Ricky Nelson didn't exactly have a perfect life. Like not everything in his life was perfect, but he did have like a realization that made actually a really good song. So, you know, he was this teen heartthrob and the Ozzie and Harriet show. And basically he had like, I'm not sure you would call it, like what exactly it would be called. I guess you could call it like a square persona because he was like, he would sing on the show. They were a musical family. But as he got older, like the 1970s had started and men began to grow out their hair, okay? So he looked kind of like, I don't know, like what you would call a country-ish hippie. Like he wasn't exactly a hippie, but he had long hair. And that wasn't the look that Ricky Nelson had when he was a young guy in the early 60s as a teen on the show. And so he played at Madison Square Garden because think about it. Like if somebody watches a show, a lot of people have this, I hate to say it, but they typecast a person as to how they think that they should look or act and behave, like based on a character. Because even though the Ozzie and Harriet show, even though they were a real family, the Nelsons were a real family, of course, like the show is going to be fictionalized for television, right? So, Ricky Nelson was just kind of frustrated because here he is. He's a grown man at this point. It's the early 70s. He has long hair, right? So he goes out to Madison Square Garden and he starts playing like these songs, like some of the classic songs like from his show. And honestly, I'm not like, I know some of Ricky Nelson's music. I don't know all of it. I just really like the song Garden Party and the story behind it. So he's playing all these songs and he starts getting booed on stage, right? Because he doesn't look like a 1960s stereotypical teen heartthrob. He has long hair now. He's wearing kind of a country hippie look and like he's getting booed. So he basically almost just got booed off stage. And it was kind of an interesting moment because I feel like some people would use that opportunity to think, oh my God, they didn't like me. I better get back to how I should look. Not as much society wants you to believe that once you've typecast yourself, or if you don't look or act a certain way that others like, that, oh my God, you better change it or you're not valid. I want to squash that way of thinking. Because, narcissistic people, they'll say to you, you're not social enough. People don't like your personality. They'll try and make you feel like doubt yourself. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. Like, okay, this is my thought on all that, is you have to surmount like the kind of a lot of people, they can never overcome depression. I've seen it firsthand. Some people, they can't overcome depression. Yes, we have to be ourselves, and that's kind of what the Ricky Nelson song The Garden Party is about. He just decides that he's going to be himself. He's going to live his own life. I mean, parts of his life were kind of sad and tragic because, he was a teen heartthrob. He was typecast. He did have some success in his music career. I'm not saying everything in his life was perfect. He ended up dying actually kind of young at the age of 45 in a plane crash. So not everything in his life was perfect, but he did sing a song. Like, I just thought it was kind of cool. Just saying, hey, this is my new style. I have long hair. I like it. You don't like it? I'm sorry. Like, I have to please myself. And he even says in the song, like he would rather drive a truck if it meant that he had to be in this like narrow persona. So here's the thing. Some people will always be your critic, or they will pretend one day to be your friend and then the next day they're fickle pickles. We don't have time for the fickle pickles of the world, And I want to speak to people who think, oh my God, I am not popular enough. I'm not like outgoing enough. I'm not fun enough to do this and that. I'm like, no, you're not. Yes, I love that song. And my mom, like, it's a big, like, we really love that song because it just talks about how you have to be yourself. It's a very good song. And I think the story behind it is like really cool too, because people are probably thinking he's just singing about a garden party unless they really listen to the lyrics. But he just decided to be himself. And even though he's had some sadness in his life and not everything was perfect, I think he came to the realization, well, I'm going to play this kind of music. I'm going to look the way I want to look. And if my fans from a previous era didn't like it, I have to evolve for myself. Just like in your own personal life, I think some people, like if you choose, like, I'll give you an example. Like in my interactions with a narcissist, he really hated that I would always say that I'm happy with myself or that I don't really care what people think. It's not that I don't care what people think. He didn't like he actually tried to undermine my self-esteem by saying, well, some people might not like that because some people might think that's not social enough. But, I think that's just the bully level thinking because like not him per se, but a lot of people are going to say, well, unless you're like social enough or you're fun enough or you look a certain influencer way, how dare you be on social media? How dare you do videos? If you don't look like a certain way or you don't sound a certain way or things aren't done a certain way, like you shouldn't do videos. Like you should just be quiet and go away. And those people are bullies, okay? Like anybody that tells you unless you do this, this, and this, like I'm like, no, you know what? There's always look, I'm not against if people want to have their popularity contest and they want to be part of that crowd and they want to please like whatever it is that's trendy at the moment. 5 hats, that's cool. So anyway, I feel like if people want to do whatever trending at the moment, that's their business, like I don't really care. But here's the thing about that. If you are doing that, like just do it. Like don't try and bring others down. But the truth is there's a lot of people that pretend to be anti-bullying, but they're very pro-bullying because they'll be like, you're not doing the mainstream thing. You're not being basic. Like the other day, my sister and I were talking about, I asked her, I said, I don't even know, like, what is basic? Like, I wasn't really sure. So she kind of had to explain it to me. She goes, oh, is this person that does all these different things and that's acceptable? Not that basic is necessarily a good thing. Like there's many different versions of basic. But I feel like there's a lot of things like, and I'm not trying to say all influencers are basic. I'm not trying to say that. But I do think like you're going to see certain things that influencers do, the ones that tend to be on the trending page, that I'm not saying like, oh, they're all a stereotype, but they tend to do certain things or have a certain look. And after a while, I'm like, I don't know, like I can't really tell them apart. Like I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but it just seems like they all have that certain look to them, or they all do a similar hairdo, or they all talk about a similar thing. And if that's what it takes to be on the trending page of YouTube, I don't know. I don't really want to cater, like, to be honest with you. I don't want to cater to that demographic. I don't really care if that's what it takes to be trending, then I probably will never be trending. And that's really okay, because I want to just talk to people and interact with people that are interesting. I feel like sometimes trending is kind of basic. That's really probably a controversial thing to say, but a lot of things that are trending, or a lot of things that look influencer, not that all influencer things are bad. Like there are some influencer things that are really beautiful. There are some trending things that I like. Okay. I'm not all anti like influencer, but hey, like the art on my wall right now, that's art I created mostly. Like this photograph I took this photograph. I drew this picture. I drew that one. Like, except for the calendar. I need to change the date on the calendar. I should do that. It's going to be November tomorrow, and it's been September this whole time. I kind of don't like doing the calendar because I put it up so high. But I'm just realizing, I'm like, oh, I need to change you. So, yeah, most of the things I have in my house or on my wall are things I created. But, like, that's actually how I'm getting to be, too. Like, but I feel like, okay, if you look at an influencer channel, they're going to have like a certain look, and they're going to be like, that's what's trending, that's what's popular. And I'm not trying to like downplay them or anything, but is there a possibility that some of the trending influencers are not, like, maybe they're not overt bullies, but are they like closet bullies? Like, I know that sounds weird. People are probably like, what are you talking about? But I kind of think they are, because I think they perpetuate this belief that if you don't look that way, if you don't behave that way, that you're not part of our popular society. And that's fine. They can have their popular society. But I've always known for myself, there are many different groups of people. There are many different ways of being. So I accept that I'm never going to be part of that popular group, okay? Whether it be in high school, or whether it be on YouTube, or whether it be in adult life, I've never aspired to be part of popular society or part of trending society. Because what are those trends based on? Like, people get really upset now. They're always talking, well, fast fashion is really bad, and this trending thing isn't good because people only wear an outfit for 3 weeks. And I'm like, what the heck? Even if you buy something that's not expensive clothing-wise, why would you only wear it for 3 weeks? At that point, it kind of comes down to you. You have every right to be whatever you want. You can be conservative. You can be whatever religion you want. And there's something wrong with our modern culture that makes people think like, okay, get this. We're supposed to be inclusive, right? So if you're conservative and you are religious, and I've seen this happen too in America too, like with the Christian conservatives, like I'm not conservative myself, but I'm not liberal either. Like I'm just kind of more libertarian, like personal liberty. Like I think libertarians don't really care what people are. That's what I finally discovered. It's the libertarians who don't care what people do. But it's funny, like liberals or left-leaning people who claim to be pro-inclusive, they make people feel bad for who they are. You can be whoever you want to be. Like if somebody's telling you that you can't be who you want to be, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever makes you feel good about yourself, as long as you're not like, I think if somebody's just minding their own business and living their own life, I think it's kind of weird, like that people are forced to feel like they have to be a certain way. So whatever it is, like, there's a lot of things that are always trending that are never going to be like something that I'm interested in. Like, I couldn't even tell you what outfits are trending right now. And even if something is considered trendy at the store and I happen to buy that piece, like the way I put clothes together, it's going to look different than how it would look on other people. And I'm going to wear clothes for longer than 3 weeks. Oh, I'm sure your clothes are high quality. I have things that I've bought like years ago, like for a long time, like over a decade, that are still in good condition. That was another thing I was going to talk about, is if you treat your clothes right and you wash them and you hang them up, they're going to last a long time anyway. So I don't really understand, like, all the people are like, oh, fast fashion, but they're the ones that sometimes are contributing to environmental waste, because like some people, like, they're the ones that keep changing things. And I don't think all minimalism, I've kind of been thinking about this too. It's not that I'm anti-minimalist, but if you look, a lot of the things that the minimalists promote, they're expensive. Like, some of them are high quality, but a lot of them are expensive. And I think you could find similar things that are high quality that are not minimalist. But anyhow, I think people should just be themselves. They should do what makes them happy. They shouldn't be like harangued into thinking, I need to like look this way or be this way or do this popular thing. And it's really good and okay and actually more noble if you're just yourself, you know? If you're yourself, you never are going to be disappointed because you did what felt natural and intuitive. If you create your own style, it's going to be so much better. So yeah, the reason that I'm not like a major influencer on YouTube is because I am not doing what, I don't know, whatever the trendy influencers say that we should do at the moment. Like, and I can't even tell you what that is. I don't even know what that is. What is it? You know, can you tell me? I don't know. If you know what that is, you tell me. So, anyhow, yes. So, I am going to be posting on this other channel a little bit more because I want to do live streams, but I also thought about this too. Like, I got rid of OBS again. I have been trying to see if I like OBS. I've been trying to see, will OBS grow on me? Well, I didn't really like how OBS made the live stream that I did look like in a lower quality resolution. Okay, well, if you're typing things that are kind of like borderline, I can see some comments that are being held because this is a PG space. We're not like part of, I mean, I don't know what website you think you're on. Like, you can like my channel, but that doesn't mean you get to just be like, you can be whatever you want to be. I'm not going to tell you what to be, but YouTube might be holding some of your comments if you can't like think about in a PG mindset. I'm just telling you. Just think for a second. Okay. So because you can be whatever you are, if you're pro that, but I'm not. Okay. I mean, for myself. Okay. But for you, if you want to do that, yay. So yeah, I went ahead and made my salad. I'm gonna add some more tomatoes to it. But here's my thing about OBS. I don't know, like, I'm getting kind of like, I think I've reached the end of OBS because I tried it again the other day. Like, they had an OBS function where you could live stream. I like Christmas. It's nice and all, but this is my thoughts on Christmas. Like, the way I celebrate it, it's just more like, okay, I don't do anything ostentatious, and we never had like a really super big get together. Like, I'll get my family some presents and they'll get me presents, but that's about it. Like, we don't, like, some people, they get really carried away with it. And I do have a little tree, so I'm very subdued. Like when it comes to it, I do it in just a very subdued kind of way. But I like it. It's nice. It's pretty. I like to look at light. You know what I like actually about the holidays is I like to go look at other people who put up really cool lights and things. I like that's kind of my thing. Like just seeing like because a lot of people do really neat light displays and like I think that's kind of my thing more about it, like with the holidays. So I do like holidays, like they're cool. Like not anti-holiday or anything. I think some people probably have bigger celebrations. I don't really do like big celebrations. It probably would have been different. Like if I had had kids, like I'm not saying I didn't want to have kids, but personally, I just ended up not having kids because I didn't find the right person, and I just don't want to be a single parent. To be honest with you, like that's just my take on it. Yeah, I love the Christmas lights. They're so pretty. Like, and you know what's really cool actually that some people told me they did was some people like around here there's all these Victorian houses because our city was founded like in the 1890s or so. So, like I guess like there's this one historic house, like people don't live in it anymore, but I've heard like there's some neat things like around Christmas time. I guess they do like a tea or something, like a tea brunch type thing. And some people go to that, or like you can just go on little walking tours and you can look at the pretty lights up. And it's just really cool to see like some of the older houses. Like not all the houses are Victorian, but some of them are a little bit older. And I just kind of appreciate just seeing like how they decorate their houses. Like people are really creative, which is cool. I just have a little tree. So in the past I did crafts. I did do some Christmas crafts. I don't know if I will this year. Maybe I'll do one. We'll see. I'm not sure which salad I want. What's with the onions on that one? I was gonna cut more onions, but then I didn't do it. The salad dressing was on so tight. I'm having a hard time getting it off. It's just the Follow Your Heart High Omega Vegan Ranch. I can't open it. I think it's defective is what I think. Because I'm like, I want to open this one. Like, I don't want to waste it. But I swear, I think it's defective because you should be able to open. And I'm usually really good at opening a container. I'm like, I don't think it should be this hard to open it. Like this one's open, but I'm like, it's kind of bothering me. But the other one's not opening. I'm like, because I paid for it. I want them both to open. You know, like I want to use it. I might end up having to get. I don't even know if this will work, but I'm wondering. Yeah, I don't think I can get it. Its lid to pry off like that. But this is the worst container. Like I do like this brand. You could make your own vegan salad dressing. I just like this brand because like I like the ingredients. But if you can't open the lid, I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea. Like you could try hot water. That might like dislodge it. Maybe. Thought about that. Something's wrong with this lid though. Like So I like this brand, but I think their packaging kind of sucks. Sorry. It is really, really bad. I think it's defective, but we'll see if it opens. Yeah, oh my. It's really okay. I don't know. I'll have to work on that one again later. There's just something wrong with it. Who knows? I have a little bit of the Paul Newman. Maybe I'll kind of mix it in there and kind of just get the ends of whatever's in here. Hey, don't fall. You fall. Kind of mixing them up. Hey! Keep the salad dressing off the counter. Yeah, but I'm not a strict vegan. Like sometimes I eat donuts and stuff, but I don't eat meat and I don't eat dairy. Mostly. Yeah. Mostly. Because I grew up like pretty much vegetarian, so for me, it was just easy. I can't say other people could do that though. Like I don't know if everybody else would be able to do that because I think a lot of people would have a hard time with it. Like, and a lot of people say that they can't go vegan like long term. So like I do it just for myself and because it makes me happy. But I'm not like an activist kind of person. I don't like I'm not one of those people that goes to protests and stuff. I just happen to not like meat, you know? You know, actually it's better because I think it's you know, with factory farming it's probably nicer. I mean, unless you were in the countryside, you probably could find something like that. Like somewhere where you had a small farm or I don't know, where you could I mean, probably in a Muslim country you could find some they'd be more halal, but I think it would be maybe in California you actually could in the US because I think I've seen like there's this place actually. It's just a Mediterranean market and I don't buy meat there, but I love, you know, I love Lebanese food and like Middle Eastern stuff and I think they sell halal meat. I mean, you have to kind of look for a place like that. I think where I live, it's a little bit easier. But vegetarian is really good. I don't know. I'm happy with not really eating much meat, but that's just me. A lot of people really love meat, so I've never ate pork because I don't know. Like growing up, my mom didn't even want us eating chicken really. I never ate pork or beef. Like I've never had a steak. I've never had a pork chop. I eat chicken a little bit, and that's about it. So, like that for me, the reason that I'm pretty much vegetarian, veganish, but occasionally I'll eat donuts. Like occasionally, so those aren't really vegan. And yesterday I ate some chocolate cake. Not everybody will bake it vegan. Like if I make something, I'll make it vegan just because I do. But I do like sweets. So yeah, beans and fish and all that stuff is really good. I think you know what I also like. Like I have these little flax seeds, and they're pretty good. So I'm just gonna add that to the salad. I'm just in the mood to eat salad. It's not really a Halloween thing. I just call it Halloween salad because I have pumpkins here. It's Halloween. Yeah, I don't miss meat at all. Like I ate. Okay, the reason my mom was mostly vegetarian when we were growing up, but she was the one who didn't want us to eat meat, and I was kind of like the rebellious teenager. I'm like, I want to eat meat when I grow up, and I didn't really want to. Like once I got to be 18, and then I would eat turkey and chicken sometimes, but I would find myself like a lot of times I'd be like, yeah, I don't even want to eat this. Like I wouldn't even eat it as much as other people, and sometimes I would get like a veggie burger at a restaurant, and people would be like, I like my meat, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not stopping you from eating it, but I just didn't want to. And yeah. Okay, so that's a lot. I wonder if I could get the lid off my salad dressing. Things go everywhere. They're really good though. I don't like little flax seeds. Kind of yummy. And this one, I'm still trying. So I'm determined to get the lid off of it. So anyway, I guess the pumpkin patches will be rounding up or kind of ending soon because Halloween's in the, but I guess people would be getting pumpkins for Thanksgiving because I am going to try to make a pumpkin pie. I have these two little guys right here. The jack-o'-lantern is gone. I didn't even have it outside. It got moldy so quick. Okay. Because I don't think the pumpkins have been as fresh this year. I think after COVID, the supply chain hasn't been as good. Like a lot of vegetables we noticed. And even if you go out and you eat fries, we were noticing they're just not very good. They've been soggy. So we were kind of speculating if vegetables haven't been as fresh. And I've just noticed every time I buy fruit, it hasn't been as fresh. Yeah, it's not really a thing in England, I would say. Here it's kind of a big thing, but once again, I just do I do smaller stuff. I'm not a big holiday person. I don't do it in a big way. I just get pumpkins or I'll eat something pumpkin-y or make a pumpkin pie. And I made a jack-o'-lantern for the first time in years. And the thing about that was, okay, it went moldy really quick. And I don't even think it was the way I treated the pumpkin. I just don't think those were the freshest pumpkins, which makes me kind of worried about these guys. Hopefully they'll be okay by the time I decide to bake them. Okay, so they didn't read. So in California, people can trick or treat again. We're pretty much out of lockdown in our part of California. We had a lot of cases, but there's still people right now that are getting COVID, but I think our numbers are pretty down at this point. They're high, but it's back in December, it was really high. So you can trick or treat now in LA. It may be a little bit different. I don't live in Los Angeles. I live in San Bernardino County, which is the biggest county in the United States, by the way. But it's very big. It's bigger than maybe West Virginia. It's about the size of West Virginia, okay? It's a very big county. And people are spread out. And I don't, they said people can trick or treat this year. So they're going to be doing in fact, I think a lot of people are, having events. I think people are more cautious about it maybe, but there are things you can do. I think people that want to take their kids trick-or-treating, and this has been the thing for a long time. Last year, I think they did a drive-through trick-or-treat event where some businesses would give out candy. And even now with things being opened up a little bit again, they do, the businesses give out candy to the kids. So you can go earlier in the day. It's a little bit more of a controlled environment, I think. I know some people are concerned about, or you could just buy your kids candy, I guess. There's different options. Personally, I don't have kids, so that, and probably not giving out candy. I thought about it, but then I didn't buy candy yesterday, so I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I didn't buy the candy, and I'd have to leave the house right now and go get some, and it's getting later, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. Oh, Veterans Day. You guys have a Veterans Day coming up. So I guess we have one. No, I know we have one in November, but I don't think it's celebrated as much in the US. It is, but it's not a national holiday really. Some places are still open. The schools are closed and a lot of government buildings, but most offices are still open. And one of the things about Veterans Day is I think if you're a veteran, you get a discount in some places on Veterans Day, or in general anyway. There used to be this buffet that I liked, and I always told my dad we should go on Mondays because he could get a discount for being a veteran. And then also the month of November here is kind of like Thanksgiving decorating, but I think that's kind of changed a bit too, because some people are like kind of doing Christmas earlier, and then it's getting confused. Like, is it Christmas or is it Thanksgiving? But you'll see, like, some Thanksgiving decorations, which is basically our national holiday where we, like, people get together and they make something to eat. And no, I don't eat turkey anymore, right? No, my dad's Syrian, and my mom, my dad's like Syrian ancestry with some English ancestry, and my mom is just like, she's American, but like way back when, because genealogy, like English and German, and we think she thought she was Native American like for the longest time, because my grandpa and his sisters, they all have really dark hair, like black hair, that didn't even go gray until like their 70s or 80s. Like, they still had black hair. And I mean, I think maybe they were Spaniards. Like, I don't know what they were really. They thought that they were Native American, but I took a DNA test and that did not come up. No, Native American. I was like, well, that's interesting, because I had kind of thought that for a long time. I was like, we don't really look Native American. But a lot of people in our family were like, yeah, we're Native American. I'm like, well, okay, this test doesn't show it. And people have these elaborate explanations. They're like, well, but like the indigenous people that lived in continental U.S. were nearly wiped out, and maybe it just doesn't show up. And I'm like, well, no, hold down for a minute. Calm down for a minute. There are people in Mexico. There are people like in Central American countries, South American countries. They get high percentages of Native American ancestry on those tests. So if you have Native American ancestry in your DNA, it's going to show up, okay? You're going to see it there. It will be there, okay? So a lot of people said that they were Native American because it's a combination of things. Some people, I think it might be because of the Dawes Act, which is really, it's kind of disgusting. Like, there were white people that wanted to get free land, so they pretended to be Native American to get free land. That's where some of these stories might have come from. See, that's the funny thing. We didn't even have Jello. Like, we did Thanksgiving, okay, as a kid, and we didn't even do like I know there's a lot of different kinds of Jello, and I didn't even know all those things either, because growing up, my mom we were mostly vegetarian. She would sometimes do a turkey for my dad, but she didn't even like to do turkey. Like, she would prefer like to do enchiladas or like a tofu casserole, and we would have like a vegetable dish, and we would have mashed potatoes, gravy, and stuffing. Like, we always had those things, but we never did Jello. And then as an adult, I found out people do like a green bean casserole, and we never did that either. But I didn't exactly have the most traditional like Thanksgiving dinner, I guess. But we did have certain traditional things. We always had the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and the gravy. And I love that. But you can make that vegetarian or vegan. And like, we rarely, like, we would get, like, first off, I don't really like Jello that much because it does have gelatin in it, which I don't really want to eat, to be honest with you. Honestly, like, there's a couple things. I think my vitamins, I thought they didn't have gelatin, but it looked like they did. So I'm not going to panic about it. But I was kind of thinking, like, I don't love it. Like, I kind of don't like the idea of gelatin because it's not my thing, really. But I mean, I noticed they had it, so I'm not going to throw the vitamins away. But there is like a vegetarian jello that's made from like kelp, seaweed. But yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't a big jello fan anyway, so. But it is very popular. People love jello. But what we did, and just what I do, mashed potatoes, gravy, vegetables. You know, it's interesting. My grandpa, like, who was Syrian, he actually I don't know. You probably heard of kibbe. Like he made it with lamb, and I didn't eat that when I went to his, because my grandpa actually, you know, when he wanted to make a Syrian dish, like his wife wasn't Syrian, so she like wouldn't make those things. But I think he started making some of the Syrian dishes again just because he was missing things from his childhood, and he was singing songs in Arabic, and he was feeling like nostalgic for the past. But one time when I was at his house, like he made kibbe, and he wanted me to try it, but it has lamb in it, so I didn't eat it because I don't eat lamb. But yeah, it is very traditional. Like lamb dishes, like in the Middle East, are very, yes, that's a very big tradition. Like and kibbe, I think you mix it with like bulgur wheat and something else. But I honestly have never had like the traditional kibbe because I don't eat lamb. But it's very traditional. So yeah, I'm kind of mixed, as you can see. Like I have some Syrian background, some English, some German. I think my mom, like, it's interesting though because when they took the DNA test, they get a little bit of Spanish ancestry in there too on their like result. So I kind of feel like maybe they were Spanish and not Native American. Well, I don't think they were Native American. It did not show up on the test. Like, but people are still triggered about that. And it really upsets people for some reason that they're not the thing that they thought that they were. But that wasn't real because a lot of people thought that they were certain things. Like in other countries, this isn't a problem because you know mostly where you come from, right? But like in an immigrant country, people would sometimes make up stories, like either because they want to get free land, that's a horrible reason, right? Like I think that's why some people have those stories in their background, or it just made it seem like you were more exciting than what you really were. I think like people just want excitement in their life, so they kind of, well, there was another story actually about some people that their last name wasn't even really their last name, okay? Because people are like, well, there have always been people that had scandalous affairs and cheating and whatnot throughout the history of the world. But our neighbors, we found out, they told us their last name wasn't even really their last name because like 100 years earlier, like their great grandparents or something had an affair. Like they both left their spouses, which was unheard of at that time. And they moved to like a different city and they just started a whole new life. I mean, I don't know. Maybe legally they were bigamous or something. I don't know. People did things like that back then. So I always wondered, do people make up stories about their lineage because they're like recreating their identity? Like, I don't know why there's so many people in the Midwest that believe they're Native American. They're not. And then when they find out, like, most people are like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not. But other people are like, but they told me that this person was Native American in our family. And I said, well, if you look at your result, you see you have some Spanish ancestry. So I kind of just made an educated guess about that because the person that they thought was Native American a few generations back was an adopted woman, okay? And they don't really know exactly who she was. So maybe she was Mexican. Maybe because they lived in Kansas. It wasn't too far away from Texas. I mean, I don't know how you could explain that, but some people don't know this. Some Mexican people, they're European, they're white, they're Spaniards, okay? We have Spanish ancestry. A lot of them, not all of them, but there is a percentage of people that live in Mexico that have purely Spanish ancestry. They are just Spaniards of descent, and then a lot of people in Mexico, probably the majority, are like a mix between Native American and Spaniard. And then other people have different, there's different ethnicities. I think there's even some Syrian Lebanese people that moved to Mexico as well. There were Chinese people that moved there. There were other Europeans that moved there. So European countries that have colonies have an immigrant population. And people have all these interesting stories about what their origins are, which kind of was what made me want to take a DNA test and start doing genealogy to find out well, what was the real story? Where did we really come from, That is a really cool mix. That's really cool. You should do you do a channel about your roots and cooking? Because Nigerian food's really good, right? And Yemeni food. I think, would that not be cool if Khaled, you did a channel where you did some of your recipes, from both your sides? I think that would be kind of awesome. Or you could share something that your mom made. I don't know. That might be cool. And yeah, it's traditional. It's cool to hear traditional stories going back. I was a history major in college. I got my degree in history, but I didn't want to teach history because I taught for a year and I hated it. Okay, these kids are bad. And then I substitute taught and I didn't want to deal with all that. They act naughty, and I'm I don't want to deal with kids saying different things, this boy that says, "Oh, you're gonna work at McDonald's," and just silly things. And then he told the principal, "Well, my dad told me I might get kicked out of school in California and sent back to Chicago if I act really bad in class." And I'm I did not want to deal with that. So yes, I don't. I just work in kind of a office tech position. It's probably not the most aspirational. Some people want a really high power career, but that's just not who I am. I'm not the kind of person that wants to go out there and be the go-getter. I'm more of an introverted person. So I like having a quieter life. So I chose to have something that was just more reserved, more me. I'm not really super outgoing, and also too, I kind of like having more of a low-key job because I have free time to do YouTube or to cook or to do whatever I want to do, or to do art or just enjoy my life. So that's kind of my thought about it. I get some people really want to have a really, really engrossing career, but I finally got the cap off. But for me, I kind of just want to grow my YouTube up and work on my YouTube every day when I have free time, That is a cool career. Cake decorating. You know why? Because think about it. You can make a lot of money. Because there's always somebody that has a birthday. There's always someone who has Id. You could do cakes for an Id party. You could do cakes for, I don't know, anniversaries, weddings, all sorts of things. Think about it. You are kind of in that's a good field. Don't ever let anybody tell you it's not. You can make pretty good money. You start your own cake business. There's a lot of promise for that. Oh, you want to be a pro kickboxer? That's very cool. I'm glad that you're using your free time in a good way. A lot of people they don't spend their free time in a good way. Like recently, I would meet new people, and I would always tell them I hate smoking and I hate drinking. Yeah, people have birthday parties at home, or there's a lot of possibilities. Like people sometimes even they keep working from home, like they or they work more limited and they do like pickup or delivery. So I think you have a lot of opportunity with that. But yeah, I never want to teach again. Like I did it for a little bit, but that was a long time ago, and I wasn't interested. And another thing too, if you're a teacher, you kind of have to like kids a lot. It's not that I hate kids, but I think they're cute and everything, but I don't want to deal with their misbehaviors. And I'd rather just talk to like people who are adults, like, because I feel like I'm not saying adults are perfect, because they have problems too, but with an adult, there's a little bit more control of their emotions, whereas with kids, I don't like that. I just feel like with kids, it's a lot of babysitting, and I don't want to babysit people, you know? I hate smoking and drinking too. Honestly, I just think it's so bad. And that's another thing too. Like I've always been more introverted because I'm nominally Christian. I don't go to church all the time or anything. Like I haven't been to church in a while. But it doesn't even matter if you're Christian. Like a lot of people go out and they drink and like they just are very out of control with their actions. Even though I'm not religious, I kind of respect cultures and religions where people don't drink and smoke. And you know who's like that actually are the Seventh-day Adventists too. Like I know Muslims are like that, but there are some Christian groups like the Seventh-day Adventists. And even though I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist, I like their attitude. Like there's like their university near here, like they're all about health. They actually tend to be more vegetarian and vegan, and they just want to go hiking. Like they like to go hiking. They like to go to their church group, or like even like with Muslim people, they like to do something that's like healthy. Like if you are going to be part of a group, like I think that's a cool group. I just cannot congeal with people who still choose to smoke and drink, like when they're older. And like when I was younger, I don't feel this way anymore, but I think it's a big social pressure, just like in like America. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I need to drink. Like everybody's drinking. Or young people that are suffering from like drug addictions and things like that. And they're like, because I was exposed to it. And I feel sorry for those people, but I also think you make some of your own choices in life because you choose not to, like, you choose what you want to do with your life, you know? Yes, you have to have so much patience with children. And I just, like, look, I saw my niece and nephew grow up, and that's cool. I think that's enough for me. And I respect people who want to have children, but I'm just kind of glad, like, it just wasn't my path, really. I just like calmer environments, too. That's another thing. I don't want to do the social scene, and maybe COVID wasn't as hard for me in a way because, well, even though, I mean, some things at the beginning were kind of tricky, I just was like, well, it's not really that different than everyday life. I didn't go to bars. I didn't drink. I mean, we occasionally went to the amusement park, but I think that's about it. Recently, I went to the casino with my sister. We just played like $20. I didn't lose lots of money. And even that, I didn't really like because, like, you could smell people smoking. I didn't really love it. And I was like, that's enough for now. Like, we did it. And I'm like, I can probably go a long time without even going there again. I used to like to go to buffets or hiking or to the beach or things like that. It's kind of my thing. Yeah, I totally understand you because you'll lose money. I totally get that. I'm glad I got the lid off the other one. It's actually kind of good with the flaxseed in it. I like flax seeds. So, yeah. I'm going to eat down my fridge, I think. There's a lot of stuff in my fridge that I want to eat up, and I hate, like, wasting food. I hate wasting food, and I always feel guilty, like, if there's some food in my fridge that I didn't get to eating, I'm like, I don't want to waste that. So I want to try this week to not really buy anything and see if I can just, like, eat down my fridge. Although I have a lot of things in my pantry that I won't eat down for a long time, you know? Yeah, I just like having a calmer life. Like, some people they really want to have a more exciting lifestyle. But here's the thing, I always have an exciting lifestyle every day. Like, we always have, like, when I go places with my sister, we always meet different people, or with my friend, and we always have interesting conversations. And one time my sister said to me, and my mom actually, she goes, I don't understand, Julie, like, people just, like, start talking to you and they tell you things, and you always have these interesting adventures. I think it's because I just can't be basic, like, okay? So maybe what it takes to be, like, a trendy influencer is being basic, and I'm just not basic. That's good if you freeze your food, like, but what I guess, like, what I've just been noticing is, okay, I buy a lot of veggies and stuff, and I feel guilty, like, if parts of the lettuce, like the romaine, go off. So I'm thinking, like, I still have a little bit left that I'm eating right now. I have some other things in my fridge. I just want to kind of get rid of it and not buy more this week because I'm like, like, I feel guilty. I don't want to waste food. Like, it just makes me feel guilty. That's all. And then if I'm gone for like 40 plus hours per week, like, I'm not always home, like, wanting to cook because I love cooking, but sometimes if it's not my day off, I'm just not in the mood. And I kind of have to get myself in the mood, but I'm trying to change that to get more into, like, the mood of wanting to food prep again more, you know? I did make a salad, so I really do like salad. I might make a pomegranate smoothie later because I have these pomegranates, and I think I'm going to cut them up into a smoothie. That's my thought about, like, using them up and, like. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good day, and I might do another live stream later. We'll see. Have fun. Bye. Okay, well, have fun, okay? Bye.